Yeah, we're gonna get real personal in this video. You're in a relationship, you have sex, that's what people do. Not having sex is kind of like being an outcast. And so it's hard not to think about having sex, not to want to have sex.
Don't talk to me about sex. I can't hear about sex. I'm celibate.
Is celibacy even worth it in 2019? Today I'm going to share my thoughts on celibacy and if being celibate in a sexually active society is necessary or even worth doing. So let's jump right into it. I am celibate and I decided to be celibate around April of this year, so it hasn't been long. It was something that I always wanted to do. I think I was just maybe afraid because it was such a normal thing to do in society. You know, you're in a relationship, you have sex, that's what people do. That's what people talk about. That's what they show in movies all the time. It's everywhere. So not having sex is kind of like being an outcast. So I decided to be celibate when I actually was dating someone, and he would send me like relationship things, and it would be like videos and podcasts, and this is before we were even in a relationship. He would send me these videos and I would be like, wow, I'm learning so much about relationships that I didn't know about before, and I'll link those videos in the description below. So fast forward, we watched these videos and YouTube recommended a video for me called Relationship Goals by Michael Todd from Transformation Church. He is amazing, and if you guys haven't heard of him, I'll also link that whole series down below because it is necessary to watch. So we watched this series and it blew my mind. I mean, I never thought that sex could be such a powerful thing, and it really changed my entire perspective on sex and what it was. And I decided to be celibate, and we decided together, and I did not decide for him. He did not decide for me. We made our own decision and we prayed about it, and we said, you know what, we're gonna do this together. And I was just like amazed. I never thought that I would be doing this. So, and the next thing I want to talk about are soul ties. So soul ties is one of the main reasons I decided to be celibate. So a soul tie is an emotional and spiritual connection you have with someone, usually after you are intimate with them. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but when you do it with the wrong person, it can be really damaging. You ever have sex with someone and then even years after you have sex with the person, they're not even in your life anymore, and then suddenly they pop up and it's like, whoa, there's still a connection, whether it's like you still want to be with them, there's something there because you did not break that soul tie. So I decided that it was important for me to break all of my soul ties. And to be honest with you guys, the person I was dating, we were having sex before we decided to be celibate, but it was something that we decided to do like abruptly. Stop having sex was extremely hard. But anyway, so back to soul ties. I decided that I wanted to cut all of my soul ties loose, and to do that I had to pray about it. I had to read up on it a lot. So if this is something you want to do, I would suggest that you do your research and make sure that it's something that you want to do and educate yourself on it. Another thing that I learned about was oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is a hormone that is released in your brain, and this is released when mothers are breastfeeding their child or giving birth, but it is also released when you're having sex with someone. This is why it's also called the cuddle hormone, the love drug, or whatever it's called. And it's because when you're having sex with someone, this hormone is released. So you ever have sex with someone, right? And yeah, we're gonna get real personal in this video. So you ever have sex with someone, right? And after you have sex with the person, you just feel like,
oh my gosh, I love him, he's the one, like it's just so amazing.
That's another thing that sex does. It blinds you, which I'll talk about again in a little bit. So I really educated myself on it. I really was interested, like, okay, there's a reason to be celibate. Because when you think about it, if you grew up in church or even your parents, I'm not sure that maybe some of you are not Christian, but you had parents that told you not to have sex until marriage. But for me personally, as a Christian, they say in church, don't have sex before you get married. Your parents tell you don't have sex before you get married. They tell you things like you can get an STD and things like that. But no one really explains why you should not have sex before marriage. So when the church and when your parents teach you these things, don't have sex before marriage, you're probably going to do it anyway because you don't really know why. And then you learn the hard way why you shouldn't have had sex before you get married. So the next thing I'm going to jump into is dating while celibate. As I said previously, I am dating someone and we're both on a celibacy journey together, and it is not an easy task, especially because we had sex already. So we had sex already and then we stopped. That is the most difficult. If we came into it both celibate, I'm not saying it would have been hard. It would have been way easy, but it would have been easier. Not having sex is something new for both of us, and it's a journey that we're doing together, and I'm excited about it, but at the same time it's really hard and it's a struggle, I'm not going to lie. But so being celibate in 2019 is definitely worth it, I would say. I have seen so many changes in my life and my personal growth. One of the benefits I've noticed is that I have a lot more self-control, self-discipline, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I have grown in that area. Another thing I would say is in terms of my relationship, we are talking more, we're bonding, we've been able to learn things about each other that we probably wouldn't have learned if sex was in the equation. Another thing that I realized is that I am not blinded by sex, meaning, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone and the sex is really good and like you have a lot of sex and that person might not be the one for you, but you don't even care, or maybe you don't even notice that they're not the one because you're blinded by sex. The sex is so good and you think that you're in love with this person, you think this person is the one, when that may not be the case. What I'm saying is that sex can really be a distraction when you're really trying to get to know someone, especially in the beginning stages of a relationship, which is why I feel like celibacy has really helped me in my relationship, and that we're not just having sex. We're not having sex at all, but it definitely kills that distraction. So I mentioned the benefits of being celibate. Let's talk about the struggles. And the main struggle, of course, is temptation. And we are naturally sexual beings, so it's hard not to think about having sex, not to want to have sex. So that is the main struggle for me, and probably for most people who are trying to be celibate. Now, a lot of people say, oh,
I can be celibate. I don't have to have sex with people. I can please myself.
So if you're pleasing yourself, there's no way in the world that you're not thinking about sex. And then that's going to lead to temptation. If sex is on your mind, you're going to want the real deal, the real thing. So me personally, I don't do it. It was a struggle. As I said, this whole thing is a struggle. I personally don't do it, but if that's something you want to do to get you through your celibacy journey, that I personally don't believe that will help you. And I think it's just, in general, you need to refrain from sex, period. So the tips that I would give to someone who's single is be transparent about your celibacy. When you're dating someone or you're getting to know someone, I'm not saying go up to them and be like,
Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm celibate.
no, that is not what I'm saying at all. But if the conversation comes up, don't be afraid to tell that person, you know, like, I'm waiting until I'm married to have sex. Like, this is not going to happen between us. And let them know and see what their reaction is. I promise you, you will weed out the people that are not meant for you with this method, because some people will be like, oh, okay, that's cool, like, and then still try to convince you, like, oh, let's have sex. They're like, or some people will be like,
oh, I'm not really into that.
But, you know, other people might accept that, and that's how you weed out the people that are not meant for you. If they can accept that a part of your life, then they're not meant for you. Another tip that I would give to singles is date yourself. Get to know yourself. I took myself out on a date like 2 weeks ago to the movies to see Lion King, and that was the first time I ever went to the movies by myself, and it was great. I had a good time, a good old time by myself. So just learn and grow and get to know yourself while you're going through this celibacy journey. One last tip that I can give to singles who are trying celibacy is to maybe change your environment. Things that will tempt you, whether that be maybe not always talking about sex with your girlfriends or your guy friends. And I'm not saying, oh, don't tell your friends, oh,
Don't talk to me about sex. I can't hear about sex. I'm celibate.
no, I'm not telling you to be a prude or anything like that. What I'm saying is, it might be smart to say, like, if you're in the mood, and maybe you're at a weak point and your friends are talking about sex, and you might want to say,
You know, guys, I don't really want to talk about sex right now. Can we talk about something else?
you know, it's okay. Change the subject if you just don't want to think about that at the moment. Now, For people who are dating or in a relationship, my number one tip will be to set boundaries. If you don't set boundaries, you are setting yourself up for failure. Trust me, I know from experience. Maybe getting out of the house, not being alone too long together, going out in public. And if you are going over each other's houses, maybe you have other people there so that you're not alone. Another one of the boundaries that is pretty important is knowing what turns the other person on. And if you really care about that person and their celibacy journey, your celibacy journey, you wouldn't even tempt them. You know what turns them on, why would you do it? So that would be one of the things I would say, set boundaries. Another boundary could be not kissing in bed, maybe only kiss in public. Everyone is different, everyone has their own thing. Maybe you don't even sleep in the same bed if that's too much for you. So aside from boundaries, another tip that I would give is just get to know each other. Maybe you play games, couple games, maybe play couple games with other couples, make it fun, getting to know each other. Read books together, watch relationship series together. That's something that we did and it really helped us out a lot. Comment down below if you're thinking about being celibate or if you're celibate already and you may have some tips that I didn't mention in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I'll be uploading every single week. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video.